Alright, so I'm gonna start off with this crankshaft. But what you want to do to build the crankshaft is take your crank pin support, put it right there. Take your crank pin, slide it onto there. Then take your other side, take the other side of the crankshaft and put it on the other end. And then just make sure this is even and this is even. You're gonna put 2 pistons. Let me show y'all. This is how everything would be assembled right here. Gonna take your 2 pistons, put them on, then boom, put your other side of that thing on, and there you go. This is one crankshaft. Just glue it together and do the same thing with this one. But since this one has a bearing on it already, I would say put this in first and then put the crank pin support in. Then take your crank pin, add your first piston, add your second one, and then take the other side of this crankshaft and finish it off with that one. And this is how this one would look. But this would be more pushed in. Yeah, this would come all the way in so you can see it on the end right there. So I'm gonna glue these down and I'll be back. All right, so got these glued together now. Now, what's next is these 2 main shaft supports. They're 2 different sizes. So the longer main shaft support goes on this shaft with the bearing already in place. So just put it right there. And as you can see, it's right there now. Just make sure it's there. And then for the other one, same thing. And it'll be kind of like that. Don't glue these 2 crankshafts together yet, but go ahead and glue these 2 supports together so it can be like this. Yeah, so when this is glued down, once the main shafts or the main shaft supports are glued down, just put your shafts on. One goes on that end and one goes on this end. All right, so I glued both of these shafts on. Now it's time to connect these 2 together. And with this one, if this one right here is facing towards us, have this one facing, it's not even firing, so this one isn't just straight up and this one's straight down. You can see it's kind of tilted a little bit. So if this one's pointing at us, have this second one pointing like slightly up. So it'll be kind of like that. And then just push it together like that and just glue it down. That's how it should be glued right there. It's not an even firing V4, so that's why it looks off, because it is. Before you glue these 2 crankshaft pieces together, you want to take one of your crank bearings and just slide it on. So you want to go ahead and add a crank bearing, because once you glue it down, you won't be able to add the crank bearing. So add the crank bearing first, and then remember to have this facing towards you and have this one facing right there. And then glue it down right there. Make sure your pistons are still moving. Yeah, you want to keep checking these pistons and everything until stuff completely dries. So So boom, now you got most of the crankshaft done now. Now you got this bearing you can put on, if it can go on yet. Nah, I didn't file that one down yet. Yeah, this one goes on there good. And you got this one. So that's 3 crank bearings right there. Yep, still make sure everything works. Alright, so now you're ready to put 3 crank bearings in place. Once it's sliding freely, like I'm about to free this one up a little bit. But what you want to do after all 3 of them are on there is prepare to glue the crankshaft down to the bottom of this little part right here. Then boom, right there should be something like that. And you should be able to turn it like this. So yeah, the next step is to glue these 3 down right here. Hold on, before you glue it down, I almost messed up, but now that I see it, it's still good. Make sure your pistons are in the right order. So this one should be further over than this one. And the same with this one. This one should be further over than this one. So this is how it should be. Make sure this thing still spins. Make sure the pistons aren't locked up. Okay, still pretty good, still pretty good. All right, so this is what we have so far. Now, once that is on there, turn it this way to where this longer section right here is to the right, shorter ones to the left. That's for these 2 right here, but we're not gonna glue these down yet, but this is how it's gonna be. So once it's in this position, once everything is in right there, now it's time to add the timing lobes. So this one's gonna be, if this shaft is pointing up right here, this one is pointing to the right. So have this one 90 degrees ahead of this one, and same thing with this one. Since this one's, well, you can put it at the top and have it facing forward, same thing. All right, so once you glue these down, make sure, as you can see, a little bit of glue dried up and almost seized the crankshaft up in that one bearing right there. But I saved it, so I'm gonna just wiggle it around until everything dries up. Or you can wipe some of the excess off. Don't do like me, man. Don't put too much glue. As you can see, these set of pistons are lower than these 2 sets of pistons, and that's how you want it to be. All right, it looks good. Now you got this shaft and you got this shaft. The shorter shaft goes on the longer, this side is longer, this side is shorter. Put the shorter shaft on the longer side, so it'll look like that. Then put the longer shaft on this side, and it should look like that, and it should be flush with the end right there. That's how you know you got it in the right spot. All right, now everything's glued. Should look like that now. All right, what are we gonna add next? We can add these things. This is one side of the crankcase cover right there. Add that on that side. And we got the second one. Goes right there. Yep, like this. And boom, that's the second one. So yeah, we can go ahead and glue that down. So now we can start gluing the cylinders to the cylinder banks. And this is pretty simple. You just fit them into place, but you glue them down at the same time. And it should look like that. But make sure these things fit on the pistons and everything. That's all you got to do with this. All right, now we got these cylinders glued down to the cylinder banks. Now we can start the cylinder heads. Put those back there. We can start with the cylinder heads, air valves, and airways. All right, so now we got these airways and sliding valves and stuff. So what we're gonna start off with first is, we can start off with the airways. So only thing we're doing for this part, this is the front and this is the back. Just glue the front to the back like that. And that's it. So I'm gonna glue all these together. I'll be back. All right, now we got the air valves glued down. Now, next thing you wanna do, so the air valves are gonna go right here. You wanna make it so that this air valve is completely flush with this cylinder head. So you can see these little lips on the parts right here. If you got any of these things, file them down completely flat, even some up there, because the back of the air valve is going to be pushed up by those, which is going to cause this thing to come a little more forward too. But just have it as flat as possible. Like, you shouldn't even really feel these things right here. You shouldn't feel the difference like that. So I'm gonna do that, and then we can start adding these things on to the head. But yeah, let me file this down to show y'all what I mean. All right, so this is how it should look. So file it down enough to the point where you can put that right there. And it's flush. And then get your air valve and put it right there. And as you can see, that is almost perfectly flush, or it's very close. And that's how it should be. But I think I'm gonna glue this head down to the cylinders before I glue the air valves down, just so I can get the, I'm gonna show y'all. Put this on the cylinders, or you don't have to glue it down, but you can have it like on there already, so you can get that distance of the sliding valve perfect with the bottom right there. So this sliding valve should sit on top of this cylinder bank. So yeah, you could either glue this down first, it really doesn't matter, and then glue the air valve and airways down. And that's probably the route that I'm about to take. I think I'm about to take that route. So yeah, I'm gonna glue this cylinder head down first. All right, so I got one cylinder head glued down. Now I'm gonna take the back of this air valve gonna take this air valve. And as you can see, it's still flush. And I'm gonna have it right there. So when you glue it down, make sure it's even with this little thing right here. Like, have it about right there, and that's perfect. Yeah, so just glue it down in that position. Have the back up though, to where the port is right there, as you can see. And just glue it down right there and do the same thing with the other side. Alright, this is how one cylinder head looks. As you can see, it's flush on this side and it's flush on that side too. Bro, look how white my hands are, bro. What happened? But yeah, as you can see, as you can see, bro, this is how one looks. Now I'm gonna add these second airways. So one goes right there and the other one goes right there. So I'm gonna glue that down, and then that's one cylinder head. All right, got everything glued down now. Everything's lined up. Now just do the same exact thing with the second cylinder head. All right, now we got both of these cylinder heads and cylinder banks, just the whole cylinder part. We got all this stuff on. Now one last thing before we glue it on to the bottom end. We gotta glue these things on first, so. All right, got these two sides glued on. Now, what we're gonna do is line these sliding valves up, or the sliding valves with the air valves. So just basically try to find which one it belongs to. Ain't none of these things working. Okay, yeah, something. So I'm gonna file these down a little bit, get them to fit, and that's what you want to do before you glue these things down. All right, we got all the sliding valves filed down. Everything fits. That one's good. And that one's good. Now we can install this thing onto the engine. Oh yeah, I put it on the stand just to see how it looks. Looks pretty cool already. But let's take it off the stand and put these cylinder heads on. Alright, so the cylinder bank with the extended side right here goes, this is the longer extension part right here. So this one goes on this side right here. So this longer part goes on this longer part. If that makes sense to you. Let's go ahead and put our sliding valves on. Put them in the position of the piston. So this one's further back, so put this one on first so it can go further back. Then put this one on. Hold on, I'm losing track of the things. Hold on. All right, that one goes in there. And that one goes right there. So put this one right there. Put this one right there. Put this one right there. Yeah, just make sure you keep them in the right order so you know which sliding valve went to which valve, or which sliding valve went to, I don't know. Y'all know what I'm trying to say. So this is how it looks now. And we're ready to put these things on. So let me first make sure everything fits nicely. Put the sliding valves in. And you want to get your pistons. There we go. Went on pretty easily. Let's see if we can. Oh yeah, that's actually good. Yeah, that's good. So that one's good. Now time for the second one. See how this one fits. Okay, this is how we're looking so far. Let's see if we can rotate it. Alright, it's not bad. It's not bad. Alright, so now once everything moves freely, hold on. Don't worry about it if it has a lot of friction, or not a lot of friction, but don't worry about the friction in this part because we still didn't lubricate anything yet. Once you line everything up, make sure everything fits and stuff like that, then you can just glue this whole thing down. So that's what I'm gonna do now. So just glue, all you gotta do is glue right there, right there, right there, and right there. And that'll be for the first cylinder bank, and then do the same thing on the other side. All right, this is how it should look after you glue everything down. I'm not gonna rotate anything yet because it could pop the cylinder banks up a little bit. So I'm gonna wait till the glue is done drying a little bit more to do all of that. But I do hope it's not seized up. Really, I do gotta see if it'll rotate just a little bit. Okay, that's enough, that's enough. If it did a little something, then I know we're good. But this is how we're looking so far. It's looking good. So we're gonna get this part, this, and this. And we're gonna go ahead and start building this intake manifold. Also, we got these two small parts right here, and we got this right here for the top of the intake manifold right there. And these two pieces right here, one will go right here and one will go on the other side right there. And that's just for the offset of the cylinders to make it even. All right, so I'm gonna start off by, yeah, this thing goes like that. So I'm gonna start off by gluing these parts together, lining this square up with this part right here. So it should be like that. So just glue that side and then glue that together. Then this part, the same exact thing. Just like that. Glue it together like that. Alright, so I glued that down. Now you want to take the top of this, and it should go right there. Glue that right there next. Alright, so I glued that in place now. Now I'm gonna add these two things. It's gonna be like this. And when it's like this, as you can see, there's a gap right there, and that's where that piece goes. So what I'm gonna do is take this piece and line it up something like that right there and glue it into place. And I'm gonna also do the same thing up there behind that part right there. Alright, so now I got those glued in place just like that. Now there's one last part, and this will complete the intake manifold. Alright, so got the intake manifold completed, and it should fit on your engine just like that. Dang, that's almost perfect. Yeah, I like that. Yeah, this should line up with the intake ports. Then same thing on this side. Yeah, it's actually pretty good. That's good. So yeah, just glue this thing down into place like that. Just make sure it's lined up with the bottom ports on all air valves, front and back, just like this. And you're good to go. Alright, I have that glued down now. Everything is still spinning. That's a very good sign. Alright, so once you get everything lined up on the intake manifold, now we can just cover this stuff up with the two plates. So one goes on this end and the other goes on that end. Alright, now we got the intake manifold fully completed now. Just glued that down. Now you can see everything's covered up, and that's the complete intake manifold. So now what's left is the exhaust ports. Alright, so this is one exhaust pipe that I just glued together, but all I did was take the lower portion of it, which is that whole thing right there, and then there's a cover to it like this. Just glue this part to the top of this part just like that, and that's one exhaust pipe, and you gotta do it 4 times. So the first one, second one, the third one shorter, then you got the 4th one right there. Alright, now I got all 4 of these exhaust pipes glued. Now this is the front of the engine. The one with the shorter indentation right there is the front. This with the longer indentation is the back. The longer one goes on the side that's more towards the front. The shorter goes right there, and you know you got it right if they come even towards the back like that. So just glue this down right here, and this part right here should line up with the exhaust port right there. So it should be like that. Just glue that right there, and then same thing on this side should line up with that exhaust port, and glue that right there. And these are the first 2 pipes. So let me glue these down. We can move to the next. Alright, once these are in place, now add your next 2. The longer one goes right there, and it should be parallel with that one. And then this one goes right there, and same thing right here. It should come out even with that one right there. So I'm gonna glue these down. I'll be back. All right, we glued these down. They're drying up now. Yeah, this one right here could have been a little better than that. Could have been a little better than that, but that's straight. So now it's time to add the actual mufflers right here. One of them goes on this side and another one goes right here. Just glue them right there. This rectangle should fit both of these inside, and then it should be even at the end. So I'm gonna glue these down, show you how it looks. All right, I have the exhaust glued in place. Now these, you don't have to glue these down because they can really just snap on. But this one goes right there, and the other one goes on the other side. Like this. And now that's the exhaust system right there. Yeah, this thing looking good. This thing is looking good. Yep, you wanna make sure it still moves freely. And it does, so that's really, 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 really good. So now all that's left is these two things. So the shorter one goes on the front right there. And just push that into place. And then this one goes in the back right there. So yeah, I'm gonna glue these down. All right, we got everything glued down. Now this is basically the finished thing. Now you just add your flywheel, and then boom, there it is. Here's the V4. Just make sure it still spins. Yep. But this is how the V4 should turn out right here. Yeah, I like this thing, man. It's my best one yet. Gotta keep this masterpiece. But yeah, this will soon be available on my MakerWorld account. I'll put the link in the description whenever I upload it. But yeah, man, I hope y'all make it. Hope it's easy enough to make, because this is my 3.5 time doing this thing. Like, I made this thing 3 full complete times, and like, that's crazy. And even in this video, I had to restart all over, like the whole bottom end. So yeah, this thing is it's easy, it's simple, but you might mess up and have to do it over again. But just know, if you mess up and have to start all over, I had to too. So yeah, this thing is, I like this, man. We about to test this thing out. I'm about to lubricate it and everything, and gonna hook it up to the air compressor, see how this thing sounds. All right, y'all, let's get this running, see how it sounds. Okay, it's running smooth. We're gonna try to put something in the mufflers to see if it can run quieter than this. This thing is already quiet, but as you can see, there's nothing in here, so these things can come off. Alright, let's muffle it. Alright, we added some disposable paper towels to the exhausts. Let's see how much of a difference this makes. Y'all let me know what y'all think. I'm gonna be releasing this model very soon, so stay tuned. It'll be available on my MakerWorld account @EngineGenerated. Sound good.